Well, now can anybody at any age take an enzyme?
Yes, we have infants with colic who are 3 months old taking a quarter capsule of Digest or Digest Basic. And we have individuals in the, over 100 that are taking capsules of Digest and Digest Gold. There isn't anyone that can't take an enzyme. You can't make statements like that. There are very few people that wouldn't be able to take an enzyme product.
So it doesn't matter the age, though.
Age is certainly not an issue. There are individuals that may be hypersensitive to the source of our enzymes. We get our enzymes from numerous sources. They're all plant-based sources, and some may have a sensitivity to a certain plant-based source. But that is very rare. We sell over 75,000 bottles a month, and we probably get 10 complaints a year.
Okay.
So it's extremely rare.
Well, now when the viewers are watching, many of them, I imagine, probably know what an enzyme is. We've all heard of enzymes in one capacity. I mean, I remember watching television shows and seeing, the laundry, commercials that were trying to get the grass stains out of my jeans.
Yeah.
Or just recently, I'll be in the market and I'll see, enriched with enzymes,
Right.
Not necessarily digestive enzymes, but I've seen the word. When you're talking about digestive enzymes, what in a summary, what is that and what does that mean?
When you say in a summary, you mean short, right?
Well, for those who, they were just trying to get the concept of it.
Yeah, real quick. Enzymes aren't alive. We think of them as being alive. Bacteria is alive, like probiotics. People know that yogurt contains these living bacteria. Enzymes aren't living. They're proteins, but they contain energy. And the energy in this protein, which is not found in any other type of protein, allows this protein to speed up reactions or to break things down. And so, when you see the word enzyme, it's either speeding up a process, like speeding up the power of cleaning, speeding up your digestive process, or it's digesting and breaking something down. And so enzymes have that ability, and this happens internally. If we have to break down protein because we just ate, let's say, a steak, well, enzymes are required for that. If we have to let's say, cleanse the arteries. If our arteries are going to be, let's say they're blocked. One of the most common ways to do that is through enzymes, pharmaceutically and naturally. So, and then if you have a stain on your clothes, that's a grass stain, then you can break it down with an enzyme. So enzymes are technically catalysts. I usually, I have to define what that is. That just allows two things to work together.
Okay.
They speed up allowing these things work together, and as a result of that, things just happen much, much faster when an enzyme is present.
Now, can somebody take too many enzymes?
Well, you can probably take too much of anything. It would be very hard to take too many enzymes. The reason being is we have, by some estimates, 75 to 100 trillion cells in our body. Every single one of those cells requires thousands of enzymes to function. So really, the amount of enzymes demanded by the cells in our body is astronomical. You almost can't even fathom the number. And so when we consume an enzyme, the demand is so high. If we consume it on an empty stomach or digestively speaking, the demand or the need for enzymes is so high that it would be nearly impossible to provide the body too many. And should you have the ability to do so, what would happen is your body would simply recognize it as a protein and then begin digesting it as protein. Okay. So now we don't recommend people go out and take a bottle of enzymes. There will be repercussions to that. You'll probably have soft stool. Things will move a lot faster through you digestively because that's what enzymes do. They speed up that process. But as far as getting sick or having any life-threatening issue, it's just not going to happen. They're very, very safe. Among the safest product you can buy in a health food store.
Is enzymes.
Yeah.
Now, because I know the different products that Enzymedica carries, a lot of people don't understand the difference between the digestives, the therapeutics, and then even your supportives. Can you explain a little bit? Obviously, digestive, you did a little bit. That's obviously with food you're talking. But what are the therapeutics and your supportives? Yeah,
so we have the digestive, which you said you take it with food. Pretty obvious. If you have let's say you're intolerant to dairy, we have an enzyme for that. If you're intolerant to gluten, we have enzymes for that. If you're just looking to digest foods efficiently, we have enzymes for that. Those are the real easy ones to understand. Where it gets a little harder to understand is that when you take an enzyme on an empty stomach, it has what we call a therapeutic or a systemic effect.
Mm-hmm.
And all that means is that that enzyme isn't going to digest protein, fats, or carbohydrates in your digestive system because you haven't taken it with food.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets absorbed into your bloodstream. Once in your bloodstream, these enzymes will have different effects, which is determined by the type of enzyme it is.
Mm-hmm.
As an example, when you take a high lipase enzyme, which is the enzyme that breaks down fat, you take it on an empty stomach, it becomes therapeutic in that you absorb it into your blood and it will start digesting fat in your blood. Now, fat in your blood is cholesterol and triglycerides. And so if you have high cholesterol or high triglycerides and you take a lipase product on an empty stomach, what you are likely to see is a decrease in cholesterol and triglycerides. So that is a therapeutic effect. It's a therapeutic enzyme, which is unlike a digestive enzyme. Interestingly, lipase is also a digestive enzyme if you take it with food.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on when you take it and the source of the enzyme and what the affinity of the enzyme is. Some enzymes don't like food at all. We have an enzyme that we manufacture and sell called nattokinase. Nattokinase loves a protein called fibrin, but fibrin is not in food. It's in our blood, and it's what makes up blood clots. So you can expose nattokinase to protein in fish, eggs, dairy, whatever, and nattokinase won't do a whole lot to it. It doesn't have an affinity for it.
Does that else, as you're talking, I'm thinking, is it almost like it doesn't activate in that area?
Well, it's active, but there's nothing for it to do. Enzymes are so specific that when they go to break something apart, it has to be exactly the right sequence or it's unable to do it. It's like a lock and key.
Okay.
Things are all locked up, and unless it's the right sequence of amino acids, if it's a protein, there's nothing for it to break. It's like opening the door and seeing nothing there.
They close the door back.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so the enzyme goes along and opens all the doors and says, well, there's nothing I can do here.
Mm-hmm.
And it moves on to another type of protein. Nattokinase loves a very specific type of protein, and it's the protein that literally contributes to cardiovascular issues, inappropriate blood clots, high-risk things.
Mm-hmm.
And nattokinase has an enormous amount of research behind it on cardiovascular health.
Mm-hmm.
So you can take nattokinase with food, but it's not going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You take it on an empty stomach, and you get a real value. And so what Enzymedica does is Enzymedica separates these therapeutic enzymes from the digestive enzymes and says take these enzymes with food, take these away from food to get different effects.
Well, and how many products do you guys carry?
It's over 30. Last count it was 32. I think we're up to 34, if I'm not mistaken, with 2 new products we just launched this month, acid soup chewables.
And you guys primarily just do enzymes, right?
Yeah, the only other thing that we do have in the line, we have 2 products that I would classify as not technically enzymes, but definitely enzyme related. One is a probiotic product, which probiotics make enzymes very efficiently, and they're part of the digestive system. We have a phenomenal probiotic that we sell, and we built and sell. And then we've got a product that helps balance pH, which has a lot of botanicals in it. It's got some enzymes in it as well. But what it does is it balances the pH of the digestive system and the body so that the parts of the body that manufacture enzymes can do so more efficiently. And the enzymes that work in the digestive tract, they're so sensitive to pH that if you have the wrong pH, they don't work as well. Mm-hmm. So pH Basic, which is the name of that product, helps all the enzymes work better. So there are supportives.
Okay.
2 products that we really have in the supportive category.
But they're almost like a companion.
They're built to enhance
mm-hmm.
the other products. That's why we call them supportive. So we've got all of these enzyme products, 30 couple, and then we've got these couple products that support all those, the probiotic and the pH Basic, and that's essentially our line.
Well, and you've been talking a lot about, digestion, of course, and as I'm thinking about the children on the spectrum, and, we hear about all these different diets, we hear, they're definitely, you talked about it earlier, they're having issues from one way or another. Do you guys recommend taking a product and, and then not eating whatever you want kind of thing?
Absolutely not. We believe, and this is based on a lot of practical information. So this isn't theory. We know what enzymes are capable of doing better than anybody. And I can tell you that enzymes are not capable of handling the amounts of food that children would normally consume that they're often intolerant to. It's just not possible. Now, if there's small amounts of gluten, casein, lactose,
trace amounts, or perhaps they got into the cupboard accidentally.
Yeah, or maybe you didn't even know it was there. It's hiding in the food, or there's cross-contamination. Enzymes are very capable of handling that. And then as the digestive system heals, they're incredible at supporting a healing GI tract. And what happens is that over the course of time, often these children become less sensitive, less intolerant, and can handle just a little more. But I will say this, there is absolutely no substitute for eliminating foods that a child is sensitive to, intolerant to, or allergic to. Enzymes are there to support that decision. They're there to back up the decision in the event that there is something unknown in a food, or in shampoo, or in the toys they play with, or in the environment. But they're great at supporting a decision for eliminating those foods, but they're not a replacement.
Well, in the autism community, we've all heard this saying, it's one piece to the puzzle. And I don't think a lot of people know all of the different things that Enzymedica does do in the autism community. So I wanted to kind of list a few. Because you guys really do a lot in regards to supporting different nonprofits. And you mentioned before already the Autism Treatment Center of America, Generation Rescue, Autism One. I know you guys do a lot with that as well. You also are at all the major conferences. And on top of that, many of you guys may or may not know Enzymedica sponsors this show, but also you sponsor a radio show.
Yeah.
And really the list goes on and on. Is there a reason that, and now you talked a little bit about why it's your cause, but is there a reason why you just want to keep going on and keep helping this community?
Well, honestly, as hard as we work at trying to help this community, very few people really understand or really know what these children need. I mean, it's amazing to me how many people don't know and don't understand. Even parents of children with autism. I mean, I meet parents all the time just coincidentally. I was camping one weekend, and there was a child with autism on the campsite, and in talking with a parent of that child, I mean, they had no clue, that there was hope, and so this is a family of a child with autism, so then you take into consideration the rest of the population who were maybe affected by it, through an acquaintance or a relative. And frankly, there's just, the message has to get out. There is hope. It's that we have one little tiny piece of this puzzle, but one thing we have gotten good at is educating others. That's how we built Enzymedica. And so it's our goal to just keep doing this until everyone gets it. And I have a feeling that's going to take a very long time.
But it starts somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And as I'm sitting here thinking, and I know you go to many of the major conferences, you're out there with the parents. I mean, many of us in the community, we call it being on the front lines, and you're right there listening to these parents' stories. Can you think of one that sticks out in your mind from any of the conferences?